A Planet Without a Sun, cartoon of planet asking if anyone is out there. For years, a group of scientists had been looking through the night sky for a special kind of murky, dim star. These stars don't emit much light, so they are pretty hard to find. What they did find was even more unlikely. They came across a planet. There are planets zipping around many stars in our galaxy. This one was different. It was hanging out all by its lonesome to the power of drifting aimlessly in space without a star to warm it or keep it company. Artist's interpretation of the lone planet. This is an artist's idea of what this lonely Jupiter-like planet might look like. Credit, MPIAV, CH. Quets. When most people think of planets, they think of large spheres of rock, like Earth, ice, like Neptune, or gas, like Jupiter, circling around a bright, warming star. That makes sense. Planets form from the material left over from when a star is born, but this object has everything else you might expect from a planet. In fact, it appears to be a lot like Jupiter, only much bigger. So what is this super Jupiter doing way out in the middle of nowhere? Gravitational forces might have flung it away from a star, leaving it to fly off into space. Or perhaps this planet formed in an entirely different and unknown way. Scientists don't know for sure. A big discovery. This is an exciting find. It is the first really good evidence that planets without suns actually exist. It's also exciting because this planet is very young. It could help scientists figure out what planets like Jupiter were like when they first formed. But there is something even more exciting about this planet. Without the blinding light of a star next to it, scientists are actually able to see this strange and faraway world with powerful telescopes. How cool is that? All about the moon. Quick facts. Earth has just one moon, a rocky, cratered place, roughly a quarter the size of Earth and an average of 238,855 miles away. The moon can be seen with the naked eye most nights as it traces its 27-day orbit around our planet. Illustration of a cartoon robot, the mascot of NASA Space Place. All 3D models in the page have loaded. Explore the moon. Click and drag to rotate the moon. Scroll or pinch to zoom in and out. Credit, NASA Visualization Technology Applications and Development, VTAD. The face of the moon that we see from Earth. This is the face of the moon that we see from Earth. This image is based on data from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft. Credit, NASA GSFC Arizona State University. Chances are that when you imagine the night sky, one of the first things that comes to mind is the moon glowy to the power of in the darkness. The moon has always held a special place in our imaginations and in daily life. An image of the moon that appeared in a 1902 French film called Le Voyage dans la Lune. The moon has inspired wonder and creativity for thousands of years. This image appeared in a 1902 French film called Le Voyage dans la Lune, A Trip to the Moon. It's no wonder that we are fascinated. The moon is Earth's only natural satellite and one that we can easily see most nights. What makes the moon glow? The moon does not shine with its own light. It simply reflects light coming from the sun. Why does it look like the moon is changing shape? From Earth, it might look like the moon is changing shape each night, from a tiny sliver to a half moon to a full moon and back again. What's actually happening is that from our spot on Earth, we see different parts of the moon lit up by the sun as the moon travels in its orbit. This graphic shows all 8 moon phases we see as the moon makes a complete orbit of Earth about every 4 weeks. As the moon travels around Earth, different parts of it are lit up by the sun. These changes in the moon's appearance from our view on Earth are called moon phases. This graphic shows all 8 moon phases we see as the moon makes a complete orbit of Earth about every 4 weeks. Credit, NASA JPL Caltech. Is there actually a dark side of the moon? No. The moon rotates on its own axis at the same rate that it orbits around Earth. That means we always see the same side of the moon from our position on Earth. The side we don't see gets just as much light. So a more accurate name for that part of the moon is the far side. Animation showing how the moon orbits around Earth while also rotating on its own axis at the same speed. We only ever see one side of the moon because as it orbits around Earth, it also rotates on its own axis at the same speed. Credit, NASA JPL Caltech. Image of the far side of the moon. The far side of the moon looks very different than the near side. See the first photo in this article. Notice how few dark areas the far side has. This image is based on data from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft. Credit: NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, Arizona State University. How did the moon form? Scientists believe that the moon formed early in the solar system's history after Earth and an object about the size of Mars smashed into each other. The impact sent chunks of Earth and the impactor into space that were pulled together by gravity, creating the moon. How do we study the moon? Even thousands of years ago, humans drew pictures to track the changes of the moon. Later, people used their observations of the moon to create calendars. Today, we study the moon using telescopes and spacecraft. For example, NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter has been circling the moon and sending back measurements since 2009. The moon is the only other planetary body that humans have visited. On July 20, 1969, NASA astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were the first people to set foot on the dusty surface of the moon. 10 other American astronauts followed. They collected hundreds of pounds of lunar soil and rock samples, conducted experiments and installed equipment for follow-up measurements. Astronaut Buzz Aldrin set up several scientific experiments while on the surface of the moon during the historic Apollo 11 mission. You can see the lunar module, Eagle, in the background. Astronaut Buzz Aldrin set up several scientific experiments while on the surface of the moon during the historic Apollo 11 mission. You can see the lunar module, Eagle, in the background. Credit: NASA. What do we know about the moon? Today, we know that the moon is covered by craters as well as dust and debris from comets, asteroids and meteoroid impacts. We know that the moon's dark areas, called Maria, which is Latin for seas, are not actually seas. Instead, they are craters that lava seeped into billions of years ago. We know that the moon has almost no atmosphere and only about 1/6 of Earth's gravity. We even know that there is quite a bit of frozen water tucked away in craters near the moon's poles. Image of the surface of the moon covered with the remains of old and new impacts. There is no wind or air on the moon to help erase to the power of craters, so the surface is covered with the remains of old and new impacts. Credit: NASA JPL Caltech UCLA MPSDLR IDA. There are still many questions left to answer about the moon, and the most exciting days of lunar activity may still lie ahead as NASA sends humans on the next missions to the moon and eventually on to Mars. For more information visit NASA Solar System Exploration. Article last updated September 12, 2019. More about the moon. Illustration of the moon in the distance saying, "I'm over here." How far away is the moon? Tycho crater, in the moon's southern hemisphere. Why does the moon have craters? A blood moon against the night sky in 2014. What are the different types of full moons? If you like this, you may like. Similar item 1. What is a meteor shower? What is a meteor shower? Similar item 1. How scary is space? How scary is space? Similar item 1. Make Aurea moon faces. Make Aurea moon faces. About Us privacy policy image use. NASA official. Kristen Erickson, Program Manager. Heather Doyle, contact NASA Space Place. Semicolon. All about Mars. Mars is a cold desert world. It is half the size of Earth. Mars is sometimes called the red planet. It's red because of rusty iron in the ground. All 3D models in the page have loaded. Explore Mars. Click and drag to rotate the planet. Scroll or pinch to zoom in and out. Credit: NASA Visualization Technology Applications and Development, VTAD. Like Earth, Mars has seasons, polar ice caps, volcanoes, canyons, and weather. It has a very thin atmosphere made of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and argon. There are signs of ancient floods on Mars, but now water mostly exists in icy dirt and thin clouds. On some Martian hillsides, there is evidence of liquid salty water in the ground. Scientists want to know if Mars may have had living things in the past. They also want to know if Mars could support life now or in the future. A cartoon of Mars smiling, saying, "I love having visitors." Structure and surface. Mars is a terrestrial planet. It is small and rocky. Mars has a thin atmosphere. Mars has an active atmosphere, but the surface of the planet is not active. Its volcanoes are dead. Time on Mars. One day on Mars lasts 24.6 hours. It is just a little longer than a day on Earth. 1 year on Mars is 687 Earth days. It is almost twice as long as 1 year on Earth. Mars neighbors. Mars has 2 moons. Their names are Phobos and Deimos. Mars is the 4th planet from the Sun. That means Earth and Jupiter are Mars' neighboring planets. Quick history. Mars has been known since ancient times because it can be seen without advanced telescopes. Several missions have visited Mars, and Mars is the only planet we have sent rovers to. They drive around Mars, taking pictures and measurements. Mars rovers: Perseverance, Curiosity, Spirit and Opportunity. Sojourner. What does Mars look like? A photo of one full lit side of Mars, showing the reddish-brown color of its surface and a white spot on the southern side. NASA's Hubble Space Telescope took this picture of Mars as it was making its closest approach to Earth in 60,000 years. A photo of one full lit side of Mars showing several white splotches that are water ice clouds and ice on the ground. All about Mercury. Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system. It's just a little bigger than Earth's moon. It is the closest planet to the Sun, but it's actually not the hottest. Venus is hotter. All 3D models in the page have loaded. Explore Mercury. Click and drag to rotate the planet. Scroll or pinch to zoom in and out. Credit: NASA Visualization Technology Applications and Development, VTAD. Along with Venus, Earth, and Mars, Mercury is one of the rocky planets. It has a solid surface that is covered with craters. It has no atmosphere, and it doesn't have any moons. Mercury likes to keep things simple. This small planet spins around slowly compared to Earth, so one day lasts a long time. Mercury takes 59 Earth days to make one full rotation. A year on Mercury goes by fast. Because it's the closest planet to the Sun, it doesn't take very long to go all the way around. It completes one revolution around the Sun in just 88 Earth days. If you lived on Mercury, you'd have a birthday every 3 months. A day on Mercury is not like a day here on Earth. For us, the Sun rises and sets each and every day. Because Mercury has a slow spin and short year, it takes a long time for the Sun to rise and set there. Mercury only has one sunrise every 180 Earth days. Isn't that weird? A cartoon of Mercury smiling and saying, "I'm pretty small." Structure and surface. Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system. Mercury is a terrestrial planet. It is small and rocky. Mercury doesn't really have an atmosphere. Time on Mercury. A day on Mercury lasts 59 Earth days. A year on Mercury lasts 88 Earth days. Mercury's neighbors. Mercury does not have any moons. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. Venus is Mercury's neighboring planet. Quick history. Mercury has been known since ancient times because it can be seen without advanced telescopes. Mercury has been visited by 2 spacecraft, Mariner 10 and Messenger. What does Mercury look like? A photo of Mercury that looks like a crescent. The light gray color can be seen as well as the features of the surface, including craters. Here you can see that Mercury is a light gray color. A photo of Mercury's surface showing craters. This is Mercury's northern horizon as seen by the Messenger spacecraft during its third flyby. A photo of one whole lit side of Mercury. It has craters and lightly colored splotches. The big, star-shaped crater towards the bottom of the globe is named Debussy. A photo of Mercury with colors added and lightened to show surface features like craters. This picture of Mercury has colors added so you can better see the surface differences and craters. For more information visit NASA Solar System Exploration. Article last updated September 1st, 2021. Explore the solar system. A cartoon of the Sun with a smiling face. A cartoon of Mercury with a smiling face. A cartoon of Venus with a smiling face. A cartoon of Earth with a smiling face. A cartoon of Mars with a smiling face. A cartoon of a few rocky shapes indicating the presence of the asteroid belt. A cartoon of Jupiter with a smiling face. A cartoon of Saturn with a smiling face. A cartoon of Uranus on its side with a smiling face. A cartoon of Neptune shivering because it's cold. If you like this, you may like similar item 1. How many moons? How many moons? Similar item 1. What is a barycenter? All about Jupiter. Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. It's similar to a star, but it never got massive enough to start burning. It is covered in swirling cloud stripes. It has big storms like the Great Red Spot, which has been going for hundreds of years. Jupiter is a gas giant and doesn't have a solid surface, but it may have a solid inner core about the size of Earth. Jupiter also has rings, but they're too faint to see very well. All 3D models in the page have loaded. Explore Jupiter. Click and drag to rotate the planet. Scroll or pinch to zoom in and out. Credit: NASA Visualization Technology Applications and Development, VTAD, a cartoon of Jupiter smiling, saying, "I'm the biggest." Structure and surface. Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. Jupiter is a gas giant. It is made mostly of hydrogen and helium. Jupiter has a very thick atmosphere. Jupiter has rings, but they're very hard to see. Time on Jupiter. 1 day on Jupiter goes by in just 10 hours. 1 year on Jupiter is the same as 11.8 Earth years. Jupiter's neighbors. Jupiter has 79 confirmed moons. Jupiter is the fifth planet from the Sun. That means Mars and Saturn are Jupiter's neighboring planets. Quick history. Jupiter has been known since ancient times because it can be seen without advanced telescopes. Jupiter has been visited or passed by several spacecraft, orbiters and probes, such as Pioneer 10 and 11, Voyager 1 and 2, Cassini, New Horizons, and Juno. What does Jupiter look like? A photo of Jupiter in the top left corner, clearly showing the bands of Jupiter's colors, brown, gray, and red. A small moon is in the lower right-hand corner. Here you can see Jupiter and one of its many moons, Ganymede. A full face of Jupiter with the great red spot on the right-hand side. A small dark spot on the left side of Jupiter is the shadow of a moon passing in front. This picture is actually 4 pictures taken by Cassini put together. The dark spot on the left is the shadow from Jupiter's moon Europa. A close-up image of Jupiter's red spot, showing swirls of brown and red gas. All about Venus. Even though Venus isn't the closest planet to the Sun, it is still the hottest. It has a thick atmosphere full of the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide and clouds made of sulfuric acid. The gas traps heat and keeps Venus toasty warm. In fact, it's so hot on Venus, metals like lead would be puddles of melted liquid. All 3D models in the page have loaded. Explore Venus. Click and drag to rotate the planet. Scroll or pinch to zoom in and out. Credit: NASA Visualization Technology Applications and Development, VTAD. Venus looks like a very active planet. It has mountains and volcanoes. Venus is similar in size to Earth. Earth is just a little bit bigger. Venus is unusual because it spins the opposite direction of Earth and most other planets, and its rotation is very slow. It takes about 243 Earth days to spin around just once. Because it's so close to the Sun, a year goes by fast. It takes 225 Earth days for Venus to go all the way around the Sun. That means that a day on Venus is a little longer than a year on Venus. Since the day and year lengths are similar, 1 day on Venus is not like a day on Earth. Here, the Sun rises and sets once each day, but on Venus, the Sun rises every 117 Earth days. That means the Sun rises 2 times during each year on Venus, even though it is still the same day on Venus. And because Venus rotates backwards, the Sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Just like Mercury, Venus doesn't have any moons. A cartoon of Venus smiling saying, "Is it hot out here, or is it just me?" Structure and surface. Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system. Venus is a terrestrial planet. It is small and rocky. Venus has a thick atmosphere. It traps heat and makes Venus very hot. Venus has an active surface, including volcanoes. Venus spins the opposite direction of Earth and most other planets. Time on Venus. A day on Venus lasts 243 Earth days. A year on Venus lasts 225 Earth days. Venus's neighbors. Venus does not have any moons. Venus is the second planet from the Sun. That means Mercury and Earth are Venus's neighboring planets. Quick history. Venus has been known since ancient times because it can be seen easily without a telescope. Venus has been visited by several spacecraft. Mariner 2, Mariner 5, Mariner 10, Pioneer Venus 1, Pioneer Venus 2, and an orbiter called Magellan. What does Venus look like? A photo of Venus's swirling atmosphere of reddish-brown clouds. Here you can see the clouds covering Venus. A false color photo of Venus that uses blues, greens, yellows, and reds to show differences in the surface such as craters and mountains. This is a combination of images taken by the Magellan spacecraft. The colors have been altered so you can see all the differences in Venus's surface. Magellan used radar to get information about the surface of Venus, which we can't normally see because of the thick, cloudy atmosphere. A photo of a large crater and lots of white cracks in the surface. A crater on the surface of Venus. It's 45 miles, 72 kilometers, wide. For more information visit NASA Solar System Exploration. Article last updated September 1st. 2021. Explore the solar system. A cartoon of the sun with a smiling face, a cartoon of Mercury with a smiling face, a cartoon of Venus with a smiling face, a cartoon of Earth with a smiling face, a cartoon of Mars with a smiling face, a cartoon of a few rocky shapes indicating the presence of the asteroid belt, a cartoon of Jupiter with a smiling face, a cartoon of Saturn with a smiling face, a cartoon of Uranus on its side with a smiling face, a cartoon of Neptune shivering because it's cold. If you like this, you may like. Similar item 1. How many moons? How many moons? Similar item 1. What is a barycenter? What is a barycenter? Similar item 1. Space volcanoes. Space volcanoes. About Us privacy policy image use. NASA official. Kristen Erickson. Program manager. Heather Doyle. Contact NASA Space Place. Last updated. January 24th, 2022. All about Saturn. Saturn isn't the only planet to have rings, but it definitely has the most beautiful ones. The rings we see are made of groups of tiny ringlets that surround Saturn. They're made of chunks of ice and rock. Like Jupiter, Saturn is mostly a ball of hydrogen and helium. All 3D models in the page have loaded. Explore Saturn. Click and drag to rotate the planet. Scroll or pinch to zoom in and out. Credit: NASA Visualization Technology Applications and Development, VTAD. When Galileo Galilei saw Saturn through a telescope in the 1600s, he wasn't sure what he was seeing. At first he thought he was looking at 3 planets, or a planet with handles. Now we know those handles turned out to be the rings of Saturn. A cartoon Saturn smiling and saying, "Everyone loves my rings." Structure and surface. Saturn is a gas giant like Jupiter. It is made mostly of hydrogen and helium. Saturn has a thick atmosphere. Saturn has a lovely set of 7 main rings with spaces between them. Time on Saturn. 1 day on Saturn goes by in just 10.7 hours. 1 year on Saturn is the same as 29 Earth years. Saturn's neighbors. Saturn has 53 moons. It also has 29 unconfirmed moons we need to learn more about. Saturn is the 6th planet from the Sun. That means Jupiter and Uranus are Saturn's neighboring planets. Quick history. Saturn has been known since ancient times because it can be seen without advanced telescopes. 4 robotic spacecraft have visited Saturn, including Pioneer 11, Cassini, and Voyager 1 and 2. What does Saturn look like? A close-up view of Saturn's rings. They are gray and tan, and there are spaces in between where you can see the black color of space through them. The Cassini spacecraft took this picture of Saturn's rings. You can see the gray and tan colors. A photo of Saturn with its rings at an angle pointing upwards. Next to Saturn are 2 white dots, which are moons. This is a picture of Saturn and its moons Tethys and Dione. Voyager 1 took this picture as it passed by. All about Earth. Our home planet Earth is a rocky, terrestrial planet. It has a solid and active surface with mountains, valleys, canyons, plains and so much more. Earth is special because it is an ocean planet. Water covers 70% of Earth's surface. All 3D models in the page have loaded. Explore Earth. Click and drag to rotate the planet. Scroll or pinch to zoom in and out. Credit: NASA Visualization Technology Applications and Development, VTAD. Our atmosphere is made mostly of nitrogen and has plenty of oxygen for us to breathe. The atmosphere also protects us from incoming meteoroids, most of which break up in our atmosphere before they can strike the surface as meteorites. Since we live here, you might think we know all there is to know about Earth. Not at all. Actually, we have a lot we can learn about our home planet. Right now, there are many satellites orbiting Earth taking pictures and measurements. This is how we can learn more about weather, oceans, soil, climate change, and many other important topics. A cartoon of a smiling Earth saying, "Life is great." Structure and surface. Earth is a terrestrial planet. It is small and rocky. Earth's atmosphere is the right thickness to keep the planet warm so living things like us can be there. It's the only planet in our solar system we know of that supports life. It is mostly nitrogen, and it has plenty of oxygen for us to breathe. Time on Earth. A day on Earth lasts a little under 24 hours. 1 year on Earth lasts 365.25 days. That 0.25 extra means every 4 years we need to add 1 day to our calendar. We call it a leap day. In a leap year, Earth's neighbors. Earth has just 1 moon. It is the only planet to have just 1 moon. Earth has lots of spacecraft watching it. There is still a lot we can learn about our home planet. Earth is the 3rd planet from the Sun in our solar system. That means Venus and Mars are Earth's neighboring planets. Quick history. We have known about our planet since ancient times, of course, but we didn't know our place in the solar system for a long time. What does Earth look like? A photo of Earth in the background looking very small. The moon's surface is in the foreground, so Earth is rising over the moon. All about Neptune. Neptune is dark, cold, and very windy. It's the last of the planets in our solar system. It's more than 30 times as far from the sun as Earth is. Neptune is very similar to Uranus. It's made of a thick fog of water, ammonia, and methane over an Earth-sized solid center. Its atmosphere is made of hydrogen, helium, and methane. The methane gives Neptune the same blue color as Uranus. Neptune has 6 rings, but they're very hard to see. All 3D models in the page have loaded. Explore Neptune. Click and drag to rotate the planet. Scroll or pinch to zoom in and out. Credit: NASA Visualization Technology Applications and Development. VTAD, a cartoon of Neptune shivering, saying, "It's pretty cold out here." Structure and surface. Neptune is encircled by 6 rings. Neptune, like Uranus, is an ice giant. It's similar to a gas giant. It is made of a thick soup of water, ammonia, and methane flowing over a solid core about the size of Earth. Neptune has a thick, windy atmosphere. Time on Neptune. 1 day on Neptune goes by in 16 hours. Neptune has such a long journey around the sun it takes 165 Earth years to go around once. That's a long year. Neptune's neighbors. Neptune has 13 moons, and 1 more awaiting confirmation of discovery. Neptune is the 8th and most distant planet from the sun. That means Uranus is Neptune's only neighboring planet. Quick history. Neptune was discovered in 1846 by Urbain Le Verrier, John Couch Adams, and Johann Galle. Only Voyager 2 has visited Neptune. What does Neptune look like? A photo of a full side of Neptune, showing a dark blue color and a few white cloud streaks. All about Pluto. The short answer: why is Pluto not a planet? Pluto is categorized as a dwarf planet. In 2006, Pluto was categorized with 3 other objects in the solar system that are about the same small size as Pluto: Ceres, Makemake and Eris. These objects, along with Pluto, are much smaller than the other planets. One of the final images taken before New Horizons made its closest approach to Pluto on July 14, 2015. Image credit: NASA Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory Southwest Research Institute. Which sentence best describes Pluto? Pluto, king of the ice dwarfs. Pluto is actually closer to the Sun than Neptune for about 8% of its orbit. Pluto is just one of many icy objects in a distant area of our solar system. Pluto and its large, orbiting companion object Charon are tipped on their sides. All of the above. Well, just pick the answer you like best, because they are all true. Pluto is a dwarf planet that lies in the Kuiper Belt. It's an area full of icy bodies and other dwarf planets at the edge of our solar system. Because Pluto is the biggest known object in this region, some call it king of the Kuiper Belt. One thing is certain: Pluto and its neighborhood are very peculiar. If scientists could unravel some of their mysteries, we would know more about how our solar system formed. More fun facts about Pluto. Pluto is only about half the width of the United States. Charon is about half the size of Pluto. Charon is the largest moon compared to the body it orbits. Whether planet or dwarf planet, of any moon in the solar system, Pluto and Charon compared to the USA. All about Uranus. Uranus is made of water, methane, and ammonia fluids above a small rocky center. Its atmosphere is made of hydrogen and helium like Jupiter and Saturn, but it also has methane. The methane makes Uranus blue. All 3D models in the page have loaded. Explore Uranus. Click and drag to rotate the planet. Scroll or pinch to zoom in and out. Credit: NASA Visualization Technology Applications and Development. VTAD. Uranus also has faint rings. The inner rings are narrow and dark. The outer rings are brightly colored and easier to see. Like Venus, Uranus rotates in the opposite direction as most other planets. And unlike any other planet, Uranus rotates on its side. A cartoon of Uranus on its side, smiling and saying, "I'm sideways." Structure and surface. Uranus is surrounded by a set of 13 rings. Uranus is an ice giant, instead of a gas giant. It is mostly made of flowing icy materials above a solid core. Uranus has a thick atmosphere made of methane, hydrogen, and helium. Uranus is the only planet that spins on its side. Uranus spins the opposite direction as Earth and most other planets. Time on Uranus. One day on Uranus lasts a little over 17 hours. 17 hours and 14 minutes, to be exact. 1 year on Uranus is the same as 84 years on Earth. That's a long time to wait for a birthday cake. Uranus neighbors. Uranus has 27 known moons. Uranus is the 7th planet from the Sun. That means Saturn and Neptune are Uranus' neighboring planets. Quick history. Uranus was discovered in 1781 by William Herschel in Great Britain. Uranus has only been visited by Voyager 2.